What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Charlie here, and I'm tired. I had a long day at work. I was not planning on recording tonight. It took me long enough to upload the unboxing video, but I felt it really important to take the time to come on air and talk about a trending hashtag, which is not something I'll normally talk about, but I'm with AEW is trending on Twitter right now. And it all was sparked by a note from Cody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the note. I'm going to let you guys hear what Cody had to say, and then I'm going to talk about it a little bit because I think there's a backstory that I'd like to share as well in how I became with, obviously, AEW, and then talk about some of the things that we've got to look forward to in almost 7 days now. As AEW makes their TV debut on TNT. Wrestling's coming back to Turner with Wednesday Night Dynamite. So let's read Cody's message. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Ready? We are now 8 days away from the most significant night in wrestling in my lifetime. I just wanted to share these thoughts with our incredible fans whose unbridled passion and support has led to this moment. The raging fire within wrestling today ignited long before I hit the independent scene. There was the hot ticket and style of PWG, Colt Cabana building a brand for himself without the reliance on a large corporate backer, the narrative pipe bomb promo that spoke heavy truths into our business, the Young Bucks creating a vlog to connect deeper with fans, and much more. After an 11-year stint in the WWE, there was a fateful bet that I couldn't promote a show, which ultimately drew 10,000 plus fans at All In a year ago. My stubborn ability to believe that I could expand my work rate even further and forego powerful connections across the barricade were also a driving force in my life. And then, of course, there was Tony Khan, the lifelong wrestling fan who wanted to invest in his business acumen, passion, and sphere of influence with 4 guys aspiring to create an alternative product. All these cumulative factors would still have not gotten us today without the largest and loudest factor of all, pro wrestling fans. This includes the growing number and often shadow market of fans who for some reason or another felt disillusioned by the current product and went searching for an alternative that truly spoke to them. My gratitude is extended in anticipation for AEW Dynamite, and even if Wednesday, October 2nd was the first and only AEW show, what has happened now in wrestling cannot be undone. Wrestlers now have a chance for a better pay and a healthier schedule, and the doors have opened wider to the wrestling show more congruent with the diversity of our current society. This isn't because AEW, it's because of you, the fans, from die-hard to brand new, and the changes in wrestling aren't exclusive to AEW. This progress can now permeate all promotions. I would ask you this one favor as we move forward. Speak to me. John Cena once told me that when the fans clap their hands or stomp their feet or give a visceral indicator that they want something, you need to do something. Otherwise, they will stop making noise. Please share your feedback with me. I want all of it. Good, bad, ugly, what we did right, what we did wrong, and why. Let me help create and tailor a product for you. In 2015, when I unexpectedly lost my dad, I was very broken. I sought comfort in my friends and family. But what I think helped me the most were the bright lights and ferocious passion of our fans. Perhaps to an outsider, this may sound melodramatic, but it truly fixed me in ways that are impossible to describe. The accusation that pro wrestling is artificial has never fazed me, because I know the feeling of a family enjoying a show, the raucous laughter of fans, the collective gasp when we test the limits of our bodies, and the overall escape we provide as an industry. There's nothing artificial about that. It's a damn important service. I've had the best education one could ever receive for this job. A pro since 15. 11 years under the learning tree of such minds as Randy Orton, Vince McMahon, Arn Anderson, Dean Malenko, and countless other legends. And of course, the 3 decades I spent taking to wrestling every day with the American Dream himself. I know what's on the other side of the hill. A billion-dollar publicly traded behemoth with 70 years of experience and an expansive network of divisions and subsidiaries, which has ultimately become a monopoly in wrestling. Yeah, I'm a bit nervous. I'm a little bit scared too. But I'm saddling up in DC along the way with the best partners and wrestlers on the planet. I'm with AEW because AEW is for everybody. I hope everyone tunes in and gives us a chance to shine for you. Thank you. And that was from Cody Rhodes. I mean, obviously this guy's one of the most intelligent people in the wrestling industry. The guy's got a wrestling mind like no other, being the son or grandson of a plumber. Cody definitely has an eloquent way with words. You know, this journey to AEW for me has been something that's really fascinating. I started watching pro wrestling when I was 3 years old. My aunt, who is no longer with us, Aunt B, she was quite the character. You could constantly catch her cursing at her television when someone struck out a pitcher on the Mets or struck out someone on the Mets, or when David Wright didn't hit a home run when he was at in any at bat. But she was a really wonderful person, a really special person in my life. My grandfather also another special person in my life. His name is Rudy, and both of them really got me into wrestling at a very early age. What Cody touches on here is what people don't understand about professional wrestling is it's an escape. It's a way to really, even though it's based in reality, even though it's based in the real world, you can watch it and literally enjoy it, whether you are a multi-millionaire or you are an everyday Joe on the street that's just trying to do your job to get by and support your family. It really is something you can enjoy with almost anyone. And we can talk about All Out in a little while, but my wife, who has never really gotten my passion for professional wrestling, really started to understand it all out. And that's what AEW means to me. It's a true alternative. I was watching wrestling on autopilot for a really long time. I would say, I made my way through the Attitude Era, which was obviously great, and then I made my way through the Ruthless Aggression Era, which was kind of okay. Randy and John Cena's emergence really took over the company, and, it was what it was. I wasn't really enthralled by it much longer, and I kind of started to step back from the scene. CM Punk cut his pipe bomb. Cody alludes to it in this promo. And when Punk cut his pipe bomb, and I liked CM Punk before that, but it really called my attention to the indie scene. Let's call it the indie scene. It called my attention to guys like Colt Cabana, obviously. Hey, Colt Cabana, how you doing? It called my attention to Colt Cabana. As a matter of fact, I learned when I was at Pro Wrestling Tees that I'm apparently Pro Wrestling Tees' #1 customer. That all started because of a Colt Cabana Cliff Compton shirt that I purchased pretty shortly after Punk did the pipe bomb. So after all that happens, then obviously Daniel Bryan starts to emerge. I start going back. I start looking at tape. I start looking at all of these guys. Punk when he was performing in the Indies, Chris Hero, Bryan Danielson. I really start to just explore all the work that they do. And that leads me to start watching Ring of Honor, to start watching New Japan, to start watching PWG, because what I noticed was it was a different style of wrestling. It wasn't about the bullshit. It wasn't about the long promos and who's got the best look or who's got the most charisma. It was about bell to bell what two guys could do in the ring and the magic that they could create, the in-ring psychology, the storytelling. Fuck you, Jim Cornette. You could tell me a million times that the Young Bucks have no psychology in a match, and I will point you directly to fucking the Bucks versus the Golden Lovers and tell me a moment in a professional wrestling match where you were not more invested than when Matt Jackson's screaming to Kenny Omega to hit him with the one-winged angel. Sorry. To me, fuck you, Jim Cornette. Anyway, so to continue my thought process here, so they really started to get me going back with my passion for wrestling. It really started to light a fire in me and kind of ignite me back into this scene, into this world. And honestly, more so than I had been in a really long time. I would say when I was a kid, I was really into it. Bret Hart was my jam, and then when Bret Hart left, and the whole forget the USA thing, and I'm Canadian and Canadian's great, and then he went to WCW. I was kind of taping one and jumping back and forth between the two to watch Bret on WCW, which I was watching before then, and then to watch Shawn and DX and everything that they were doing in WWE, right? But we didn't have that. We didn't have an alternative. There was nothing that we could watch. It was WWE or nothing. So I'd find myself putting WWE on, especially after Punk left and then AJ left. I found myself putting WWE on, queuing in for highlights. So when the Shield came on, I was a big Shield person. Dean Ambrose was my favorite. I watched Jon Moxley stuff from the Indies, so I was excited to see him emerge through. There wasn't really anything for me as a fan. There's a lot of cool talent. There's guys that they could be doing a whole lot with, but they're not necessarily doing it. So then let's talk about Mr. Rhodes. So now I've got my eyes on the Young Bucks. I've got my eyes on Omega. These guys are great. Cody Rhodes is there. At the time, AJ was in New Japan. He was tearing things up. I watched Impact, or TNA at the time. And when I saw him go to New Japan, I was super excited. And I saw him take over the Bullet Club from Devitt, which was awesome. And they were having a hell of a run there. The Bucks were having an awesome run with them. It was great content. And then I'm watching Cody Rhodes. Now, backstory there, I've been a Cody Rhodes fan since Legacy. I've always wanted Cody to succeed. He became my favorite wrestler, pretty quickly upon his emergence. I was a fan of Dusty. I was a fan of Dustin. So I was always rooting Cody on and wanted him to succeed. There was a moment in WWE that I always go back to that I thought was Cody's time, right? And to me, that exact moment was the ladder match that he was in with the one that Sandow won, which led to the weird feud that went nowhere with him and Sandow. If you look at that match, everything had "this is a star-making moment" painted on. Cody's climbing the ladder. The entire crowd is going crazy. Everyone is ready for Cody to take that next step and move into the main event scene. And then he just doesn't. And then from there, they decide, well, hey, let's stick him with his brother, which was cool. The Brotherhood was fantastic. It still is fantastic in AEW. And I loved it. And they got their first and only win they were the first win against the Shield. And it was amazing, right? And then they turn him into Stardust. Now, if you don't believe in Cody Rhodes' character work, here's a guy who literally took Stardust so seriously, made it work for him. But after, a lot of events happened in his life, he wanted to prove that he was a Rhodes, that he could take the tragedy and turn it into triumph, that he could rise and accelerate and become the biggest star the company has ever seen. And look, I'm a professional. In my day job, I'm an SVP of sales at a marketing company, right? And we always want to try to achieve that ceiling. We always want to try to move and shatter the glass walls, right? And I can only imagine the frustration of being a bloodline like Rhodes and having the talent and the ability to succeed, but being continually told, you're good at what you do. We can't move you out of this role. This is what you're going to do. I've been there before. I've been, at that path in my career. So he kind of had to leave, and he did. And when I saw that first Bullet Club promo for Cody come out, I was like, this is going to be the most amazing thing ever. And he adapted to wearing suits, and he developed a quasi-hero persona eventually with the blonde hair, and everything was amazing. But the whole time, I was rooting him on. I was cheering him on. And then All In happened, and All In proved something, right? All In proved that you can book an arena. Because what happened? Us as fans decided to say collectively, we will fly anywhere, we will go anywhere, we will do anything, we will purchase any number of t-shirts, we will do anything we can to support this product, this cause. And the reason we'll do it is because we want an alternative. We want something different. Tony Khan saw that. Good businessman, invested smartly. I think he's going to reap the benefits of that investment. But to me, AEW, All Elite Wrestling, is really an incredible breath of fresh air for the professional wrestling community. Is NXT great? Yes. NXT is 100% great. I love Johnny Gargano. I love Tommaso Ciampa. I love everything about NXT, but the thing I don't love about it is that it is still tied to WWE. So that at any given moment, they could change one small thing that can significantly alter or affect the product. For argument's sake, let's say they decide we're 2 hours now, let's start adding lengthier promos. Now it starts to look like Raw, right? Let's say they start to say, oh, well, we want to throw some of our guys in there and promote our guys so that we can eventually use them and move them over to Raw, SmackDown, and bury guys like Gargano and Ciampa. Again, changes the narrative, changes the program. AEW is going at this and saying, look, we've got a few big stars. We've got Jon Moxley, right? I told you before, Dean Ambrose was my dude. Now he's in AEW with my other dudes, right? With the Elite, the guys that I've been behind for months and months and months, actually years at this point, right? So you get a guy like Moxley there. You get a guy like Jericho there. You've got Cody. You've got Kenny. You've got a great flock of stars. But look at what they've done before they've even been on television. They have turned MJF into a star. Well, he's kind of done it himself. The guy's pretty damn amazing. They have turned Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy into stars. Joey Janela is mentioned more than I've ever seen him mentioned ever. Sammy Guevara is a budding star. Shit, I love Brandon Cutler. No disrespect here, but even Brandon Cutler, who literally just got back into wrestling a year ago, is turning into a star. You've got the Private Party. Yes, I'm invited. Private Party are turning into stars. So when you really look at this and analyze it, these guys have yet to have a television program. And yet through use of YouTube, through use of actually a couple of YouTube shows and social media and the talent social media, they're creating buzz around their performers. Buzz that WWE does not create because they put people into situations without even having storylines or plans in place for them. Look, it's early. I'm not telling you that AEW isn't going to have hiccups. I'm not telling you that there aren't going to be growing pains, but what I am telling you is that their fresh perspective has created a positive impact on the industry, and for that alone, I'm with AEW. And to me, as a fan, I was one of the, if you come and go look back at my videos, I was one of the first people covering this. I called Dynamite before it happened. I called the show name Dynamite, obviously, because of the trademark, but also the second that trademark happened, I was on here talking about AEW. I will continue to talk about AEW. Maybe one day I'll get lucky enough, I'll be able to have AEW's performers on this show. Who knows? You never know what'll happen. But at the end of the day, what I will tell you folks is next week's going to be amazing. So set your DVRs. All Elite Wrestling is coming to TNT. Wrestling is back on Turner. And your friend right here is 150% with AEW. Again, if you like this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel. There'll be a lot more coming. If you're a fan like me, you want to shoot the breeze, if you want to come on the show, shoot me a message, come on, we'll have a nice little chat. But until then, guys, really, next week's a really big week for pro wrestling. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I'm hoping you'll have a good night. Goodbye.